individual who is extraordinarily detail-oriented, while able to keep sight of the big picture with outstanding verbal and written communication skills and the ability to work comfortably with incomplete information. Netflix wants a proactive and innovative self-starter who can drive projects and problem solve. An ideal candidate for Amazon has the ability to get into the details while also seeing and understanding the big picture. Experienced at communicating complex analysis clearly and concisely. So when I looked at these a few years ago, it was very refreshing to see that the focus is not on you need to understand SAP or you need to understand SQL. It's not on analytic software, a finance application, or a programming language, because those are tools. Those are the tools that we all need to get comfortable using, but those are not the skills we need to develop as finance professionals. The future of finance is not about the latest technology. It is, or AI in finance. The future of finance is about the DNA in the finance professional. It is about purple people. Now, if you haven't heard what purple people are, I'm going to let you know. Purple people in corporate are those who possess a mix of business and technical skills. They are able to speak the language of both business and technology. They will serve as translators between those two worlds, focusing on making systems useful in a business context. Those are purple people. They're the people we need in corporate. They're the people we need in finance, and they are going to be the most sought after people within the next 5 years. Our jobs as finance professionals who identify as purple people. Now I'm going to trademark that, like I'm Michelle and I identify as a purple person, but that's like my new kind of slogan. But people who identify as purple people is, in finance, we need to understand what technology exists in our world. We need to understand what the data needs are and what is the possibility with this data and what can analytics possibly do. And then we need to use that to solve business problems. The finance roles that purple people are expected to occupy into the future are finance business partnering, financial planning and analytics, or FP&A, finance data and analytics, and finance professional with robotics and AI skills. Those are the roles for purple people. The need for finance departments to stretch beyond operational, control, and technical abilities has been brewing for the past 10 years. I believe it has something to do with the recession we saw in 2008, and it has just become clearer post-pandemic, where the holes and gaps within finance have been seen much clearer. Our ability to assist with decision-making and problem-solving, we seriously fell short as a community, and that's put a spotlight on our need to build our purple people. But finance functions worldwide are grappling with this and with the transformation required. In order for us to really become business partners and FP&A professionals and do all the cool stuff in analytics, the basics and the hygiene has to be in place. We have to have a month-end process that runs and runs well. And we are not there yet. It surprises me now. I've taken up a role in consulting to see how far behind we really are in those aspects of things globally. No one is further ahead than the other. We're all grappling with the same problems. And that is where it's the technology that is going to help us, and the roles of finance professionals with robotic skills and AI skills are really going to support and change the month-end close process. So if that is your area of interest, don't believe that you've chosen the wrong path by studying finance. We need those finance people to take care of those robots when they malfunction. Because trust me, I've seen them. I've seen them landed and then just dropped with no one knowing what they're doing and them just running continuously. We need our people. We need our finance people to be the ones that are coding those robots, that are taking care of those robots. So there is a space for you if that's what you're interested in. So let's go back to what are these roles? And I just want to spend a little bit of time explaining them. Finance business partnering has been around for a while. The skills you will need, if that is the area you choose to go into, is your interpersonal skills, your ability to speak, and this is in addition to your finance skills. So your finance skills are the bedrock. They still matter. You do need to know what a debit and credit is. But the skills you'll need over and above that is your people skills. You'll have to be in boardrooms with senior business executives, and you need to impress them and add value to them, or else you won't be invited back. You also need to be able to connect the dots across the business. What is the problem? And how can finance solve it? And who do I need to get into the room to solve it? And that goes as well to project management. Financial modeling is also very important, as well as data and analytics for a finance business partner. Finance business partners, to me, they are CFOs. They act in the capacity of the CFO managing end-to-end finance for a division. They will be dealing with general managers, head of business, and business executives. So it's the big leagues, and you need to make sure your skills are up for that. Now let's talk about FP&A very quickly, or financial planning and analytics. I see this as investor relations, managing business value, and looking at return on investment to investors. Your stakeholder is the CFO, the finance business partners, external investors, and the company board. The skills you need: FP&A is much more technical, data and analytics is key, investor relations, and being able to understand those things you will learn in financial management. How do you calculate ROI? How do you learn whether an investment is doing well or not? How do you determine what your target ROI will be for your company at a global level or at a holistic level? So a very big data science analytics influence. So if that's your area of interest, that will be the place you'll find yourself in. Two other roles that I haven't seen too much of is finance data and analytics and finance professionals with robotics and AI. And I did touch on that a little, but those two disciplines will support the finance business partner, but particularly the FP&A discipline. So that's a little background. A lot of these run deep. You can read a lot about it, but I just wanted to give you a little bit about what is out there right now, what is coming into the future, and how your finance qualification is still extremely relevant. You just need to make sure you are augmenting it with the correct future skills that your education may not be providing you with. So having said all that, as a finance community, we shouldn't be afraid of the robots. We shouldn't be afraid of the artificial intelligence that will take over the mundane tasks of journal processing and month-end close. We should embrace that, because that gives us the opportunity to take our seat at the table and influence the business decisions that are going to create the future. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michelle. As usual, you leave us pumped and very hyped. Okay, let the thank yous rolling. So many people were just hearing about couple people for the first time. I'm sure you found that very enlightening. And she mentioned some new roles. Who can recap in the caption, in the comment section, the new roles that she mentioned? I want to be sure that you're following. So, because I took notes. So who can tell us? We're a couple people family. Exactly. Okay, so who can tell us in the comment section some of the new roles that she mentioned? Yeah. Great. Somebody was
I see them all coming through. I just didn't see finance business partnering. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it is. She mentioned some of the skills too that you need for these roles. And I hope that you took notes. And she advised that your present educational qualification might not provide you all the knowledge that you need for these roles. So you have to be very strategic in how you acquire this knowledge going forward. Also, she had some word of advice for us in the beginning, told you to be kind to yourself. Trust me, this is coming from someone with experience. Be kind to yourself, create your own path, and don't compare yourself to another. Don't compare your journey, it's an individual journey, and also seek mentorship. There would be opportunities for mentorship in this section, so just stick around. We'll be opening the floor, and yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. I can see a lot of people were listening. So it's so inspiring to know that you were listening. Thank you so much, Michelle, for this enlightening session. So now we can take questions. It's time for questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at this point quickly.
I think they should use the Q&A box for the questions. Because the chat, yeah, so that we don't lose track.
Oh, nice. So we have some questions already. So while we wait for others, let's start. I would read the first one, or I believe everybody can see it. What single qualification can I trust to start looking for it that will incorporate all the skills in becoming a finance business partner? Okay, I would let Michelle answer this, and then eventually during Mrs. Soyin's session, she will speak more of this too. So yeah, Michelle will answer this for us.
Yeah, sure.
And would you recommend learning how to code? So we have those two questions for now.
Okay, so let me just speak about finance business partnering. So I can tell you a little bit about my journey. I studied my Bachelor of Commerce, honors in accounting, and then I did my articles with Deloitte. So your traditional, finance path that you would take. And then I did an end-to-end finance role for about 4 years, basically from just learning the back end of finance, preparing management accounts, everything end to end. So that comes to live hands-on experience, post-study, etc. So your normal finance qualification will suffice. A lot of the skills come with practice, and once you're out in industry, you are not going to go straight from a graduate into a finance business partner role, because the skills have a lot to do with so probably in year 5 after articles was when I landed a finance business partner role within Barclays. And but I don't believe I was a finance business partner at that time. It took me many years to develop those skills of working with senior business executives and understanding how they work and what they require. You are basically a finance business partner. You are a CFO to an executive. You're literally his second in charge. So you need executive presence, executive skills. So if you're looking for the qualification, your BCom, I mean, it all depends on what people are looking at. My peers as a finance business partner, there was SEMA, there was, any finance qualification that you have will suffice because it'll teach you the basics of finance. But thereafter, to be successful in that role, you have to love the business that you're in. You have to want to know how that business works. Management accounting is very important because it's a lot about helping in pricing. In how does the business side of things work? What is a channel? And a lot of that you can only gain by being curious and putting yourself in the right places. But don't let anything inhibit you. If that's where your mind is at, keep saying it. I want to be, yes, I'm getting this finance qualification, but one day I want to be a finance business partner. And you will find the spaces to learn the skills that you will need. But a lot of it is soft skills, as I said. Financial modeling in terms of a core skill is also very important as a business partner. So the next, would you recommend learning how to code? Definitely. Definitely. That should be a prerequisite in everything we're studying. If we're studying, there's so much data out there, we need to be able to wrangle it. You're not going to be able to find someone to help you. Right now, I am learning how to, brushing up. I did a little bit of coding. I consider it more like a cowboy, but, now I'm doing a formal qualification to brush up my skills. I haven't seen it. I don't know what universities across finance universities are teaching, but there should be a coding course in there, whether it is Python, more analytics, SQL, how to grab your own data. Just go get involved. Even if you're learning the wrong one, you will learn some stuff from there and you can use it later. So yeah, learn to code. I won't say don't. More about purple people. I'm hearing it for the first time. Yes, and that's interesting. I think it's very cutting edge. I heard it from my partner in charge at Deloitte, mentioned it to me when I was speaking about my career path and, you know, what I want to do. And the exact question, should we be learning how to code? And it was, yes, we need people with technical skills. Now, don't think you don't have, you're going to come out of your undergrad and you're going to have the technical skills you need. You don't need to know any more about a debit and a credit than you need after going 3 years of varsity. So you're a technical accountant. And once you are a technical accountant, that's your technical skills. How do you explain what accounting can do, what getting the most out of the financial levers? That is what you're going to have to need to explain to your business and why he has to price that way and why he shouldn't sell there, but should sell somewhere else. The tech side of it, AI and robotics will come in is you need to know what that robotics person is doing. You can't just let them drop because they're going to drop that robotics and leave. You're going to need to ask the right questions. And that's what purple people do. So please, you can read up. There's actually a Deloitte article on it. I will share it. Just remind me, Kemi, to share. I've got a Deloitte article on purple people. And I'll gladly share it so that everyone can read up about that. And as I said, I'm going to start saying I identify as a purple person, and let's see where that takes me. Any online app to take professional courses? I think I'll leave that with the, you know, the techie accountant. That's their area, so I'm not going to answer that one. Kemi, do you want to go through the questions, or should I just look at the ones I should answer?
Okay, I think you can just go ahead and answer.
Okay.
Relevant to you.
What's the next step to take to incorporate this into our career? Becoming a techie accountant? Again, I'm going to leave that to the professionals. I'm sure they can speak to you about that more, about, you know, the next step. I mean, it's in their name. So please, you know, I know Toyin and team, I mean, they live and breathe this. You know, you can leave it to them. And if, you know, there's anything I can add, we'll share it with Toyin and we can take it from there. Tools can be used to develop these skills for all these roles. Positions to gain these skills, seeing that we are just starting off. Okay, as I said, yes. Once you finish your undergrad, I'm hoping that the studying, you know, focus where you are, right? You're at your undergrad, you need to pass those exams. That's the world we're in right now. But where you find your time where you need to augment, you do need to augment your studies. There's a lot of free resources. They can be very overwhelming. And yes, find mentors, as I said, to guide you, because everyone's career is different and it's so broad that, you know, me telling you go and do this course may not be right. And what's right for you today is not right for you in a year. It's constantly like doing a check and reflecting on where you're going, and don't just blindly follow the next person. You know, find yourself in spaces where you can have conversations, and it's okay to say, I'm feeling lost in my career. I often am, you know, right now you know, I've got a large career and I'm entering consulting, and, you know, I'm still finding out what do I want to do next. And it's exciting as well. I wanted to say something on that about tools and developing these skills. Read books. Like, I cannot, you know, there's so many books. If you're struggling with something, name what it is and Google it. You'll find a book about that very same thing. So if you can't read the book, if you don't have the time, watch a YouTube video where the book is summarized. You know, that's what I can add. First time hearing about purple people, go for it. Yeah, learn more about it. As I said, I'll share the article. FP&A, financial planning and analysis. You can read a lot about it online as well. But that, I think, is the most, it's very exciting for anyone interested in data science and analytics. It's the space that you're going to find yourself as a finance professional. And what I believe is it's the space within finance where a lot of non-finance professionals are going to find themselves in, because what we're looking to hire in that space is data scientists, deep data people. So people who live and breathe. We haven't seen that in finance. The real techie, the people who are building out systems, they're going to come into finance, but we still need finance professionals there to lead them and ask the right questions and make sure the debits and credits still make sense. So there's still a place for the purple people, and that's what you will become. Major accounting software skills needed. There are so many. The biggest software is you're looking at things like Anaplan for planning, SAP and Oracle. I mean, those are the three. What I want to say about that is a tool is a tool. You can do a 2-month course, and if you're joining an organization and they use Oracle, they need to train you for 2 months and you know Oracle. If you feel that's an entry into the market, then read up about Oracle, play around with the free version and put it on your CV that you know something about Oracle. I mean, I know about SAP, but all I did was process, sign off journals and play around a little bit with the debtors module. So don't be too frightened by those things. Every system has their thing, and you train on it for 2 months and you move forward. It's the purple people skills and the ability to navigate these that are really important. Tech to be in how do I connect tech? Can we get the slide used by Michelle? Michelle didn't use a slide, but I will definitely be sharing whatever I can, just follow up with me and I can put together some things on a slide from my notes. I don't understand tech to be an accountant. How do I connect? Is it making the connection between, so your accounting is an age-old thing that started many years ago with the barter system. It hasn't changed. It is the infrastructure of which this capitalistic society operates. And you are there at the forefront because you're getting your BCom, go for it. You're going to know the nitty-gritty of the debits and the credits, and that matters. How tax works matters. So don't ever think that those things don't matter, because you could decide you forget the tech, I want to become a tax person, but there's going to be tech in that space too. So just saying the technical finance skills still matter. You still need to know all those things. You still need to know your accounting standards. The tech is the things that I've been speaking to more. It's how do you practically apply these things? And don't short sell the fact that you are a technical person once you come out of your undergrad. You are a technical accountant, and the skills I'm speaking of is over and above that to thrive and get to the exciting work and what we're looking for right now and in 5 years and where the shortages are. And that is, the tech is just, yes, robots are going to do certain things and AI are going to do certain things. Understand that and don't be afraid of it. If you're in a place, in an organization, or if your university is still teaching you about double entry on a ledger book, just know that that's not the real world. And just keep sight of what is actually happening in the real world and speak to people who are there and ask these questions. I like that question. Accountant and tech, how do I connect the two? That is a very valid question because it's kind of up in the air. So, okay, I know I'm seriously over time, so let me stop right there.
Okay, thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you very much. This is very insightful, and we had loads of questions. I dropped Michelle's LinkedIn page, the link to her profile on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with her. Most of our Techy accountants always do that, and she's always very responsive. So feel free, if you have more questions, to respond to you on LinkedIn. And as she has promised, when she will be sharing resources, and once she does, we have your emails, we'll send them to you. Thank you very much, Michelle. Please, in 1 minute, say your thank yous in the chat box as we move to the next item on our list. I'm waiting for the thank yous to start rolling in. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you. We're glad to know you learned a lot. This is just the tip. We still have like a whole lot to do. So we started on a very high note. All right, just so we keep the time, let's move fast. We have the next item on our list. And so quickly, we want to have a quick chat because you will soon be going, at least for the most majority of you who are undergraduates, you'll be going into the job market very soon. We want you to read what's on the screen, and in the chat box, let us know what your opinion is about this. Our next session is very instrumental in enlightening you about approaching your job opportunities as you leave school. But before then, let's have you read this. This tweet went viral several weeks ago. So we want to know what your thoughts is. We're not asking you for your moral lesson. What we want to know is, what are your thoughts? What would you have done differently? Is the CEO at fault? Is the candidate at fault for not interacting? Or should he have?
Kemi, read it for us. At least one.
All right.
Thank you.
During an interview for a marketing role, the CEO began by discussing politics and subsequently the economy. All other panelists participated actively except for the candidate who waited silently for the interview to start properly. After a few minutes, they said the interview was over and the candidate reminded them that they hadn't asked him any questions. The CEO laughed and said they were observing his ability to network and build relationships by participating meaningfully in conversations. Bottom line, the candidate didn't get the job. What moral lesson did you gain from this? Now, was the guy wrong? We always say mind your business, drink water and mind your business. Was he wrong to have been minding his business? Because he didn't come to discuss the economy and politics at the interview. There were a lot of things that were very sketchy about this, but we would like to know what your thoughts are briefly before we move to our next. So I want to be going through the chat box. There are no wrong, there are no right answers. We just want to know your view. First, you can't do marketing without talking. Okay, so I want to presume that at every opportunity where you find that there's a discussion, you should contribute. Okay. It said, I mean, Larry, In a way, I'll call it interview etiquette. I'm trying to follow up with the previous chat, please pardon me. You don't mind your business as a marketer. You involve yourself in conversation so as to sell yourself. To me, is not wrong. Okay, I would like to know more about that. For someone who is saying that the candidate was not wrong to have kept quiet.
I think you've missed one very vital comment. Finola says the candidate was mostly at fault because although they might have thought being obedient and silent was the best process, it was a marketing role, so you need to be able to talk and converse to do it well.
Okay. I presume a lot of us are active on Twitter. And we see a lot of these things. We've seen a situation whereby a recruiter has sent an applicant a message on WhatsApp and she responded rudely because, I mean, WhatsApp is very personal. And there were a lot of back and forth. You don't message people on WhatsApp, or when you do, always introduce yourself. Things like these always come up. I'm still reading. Yeah, Raman, thank you for your communication skills are paramount. Okay. Shouldn't have been. Okay, I don't think the CEO was wrong. I feel in an interview, anything can be asked. So be open to all conversation. The candidate was at fault. Okay, so, but I don't believe that it was called an interview. It was an open conversation. He was having a conversation with everybody. So he probably never knew that it was an interview, because when the discussion was done, he said, I've not been interviewed. You get, and they're like, we're done. They were simply testing his people skills, Okay. He lacks interpersonal skills in marketing role. Yeah, the CEO is looking for something else. It's tricky because it wasn't asked a direct question, but you should have read the room. Thank you very much, John. That was quite insightful. So are you saying as a marketer, is it okay to not know much about the economy or not be interested in discussing about the economy? Is it bad if I'm not just interested? I mean, at the end, maybe the discussion about the country and the economy leaves you very angry, sir. It's bad, really. Oh, Miriam said it's bad. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for contributing. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Thank you guys for this contribution. Thank you very much. I wish we had more time. Someone has a different opinion. I'm here for it. Samuel, please. Samuel, blessing. I'm here for it. Please, let's take it quickly before we move. A marketer should never be timid. Nothing said he was timid, actually. He just maybe was drinking water and minding his business. That since everyone was talking. Okay. All right, Samuel Blessing, I'm waiting for your, we have to move quickly, but I would like to hear what your opinion is. Oh, you're sending it to the host and panelists. You're not sending it to everybody. But I'll read it out anyway. Nothing said he was timid or not knowledgeable or not good at communication. True? That's very true. We have like just 1 or 2 more minutes and we wrap this up. Once we take Blessing's opinion, we wrap this up. And we have our next session. I feel it was just being observant. Is at this point I say angle. Thank you. Blessing OB is being fair here because topics around politics can be a bit controversial. But I think you should have stopped. I like that contribution. Thank you. That's a valid point. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. I like how we interacted with this. Yeah. Let me be sure Blessings post is going generally to the, yeah, you can see minding your business isn't a bad idea, except that they wanted it as a means of selection. Yeah, it was trying not to be nosy, since we are all made to believe that interviews are question-based, not discussion-based. I'm not sure we're going to end this on time. I didn't know that we're going to enjoy this like this. I would have added more time for us. From the responses, a good number of people would have joined because a good number of people assume that or agree that is at fault. Yeah, and nobody's actually above mistakes. Thank you so much, guys. I would leave it here. Thank you. I hope that we learned 1 or 2 things from here. And I believe that even as we go out, we attend interviews. Like John said, always read the room. Yeah, there is no, you can't say this is one way. There is no one way to doing these things. You get, so I would allow my co-host to take over at this point. I will be in the background here, reading comments, responding to comments as much as I can, and then we'll go with our next session. For our next session, you would take a lot, especially as regards employment. You would learn a lot, and there are a lot that you can take so that you don't make certain mistakes. Your opportunity to have this information firsthand, so you know how to approach when you're taking an offer from a company. I'll see you guys later in the summit. For now, I would invite my co-host to take over. Thank you. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Onine Ngen, and I'm the head of partnership. And just like my colleague mentioned before, I'm a graduate of Unizik. Special shout out to Unizik undergraduates in the house. Can I see Unizik undergraduates in the house, maybe in the comment section. Can you all hear me? All right. Special shout out to Unizik people, and no offense to other schools, but it's nice seeing my people here. Yes, Zikait, I see you. I see you. Chinazo, I see you. Okay, thank you and welcome everybody. This particular section is really important because we've been talking about the roles for finance professionals, the emerging roles and all of that. Like, there have been a lot, and I see you people have been asking a lot of questions, but it's really important that while we're getting this job, what do we think, or what do we know are our rights? How do we negotiate our rights? How do we negotiate salaries? How do we know that we are not mistreated in our workplace? And this particular section will be taken by a big name in the Nigerian legal system. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited. And Barrister Tosi Olufon will be taking this section. Barrister Tosi Olufon is an international trade and business lawyer with exceptional proficiency in civil and commercial litigation, corporate restructuring, intellectual law property, business, industrial, and regulatory compliance. He's the head of legal practice in the prestigious law firm of Oba Olufon and Co, headquartered here in Abuja. He has advised and represented blue chip companies and sovereign nations on their interest in Nigeria, Germany, France, and United Arab Emirates. He's a legal advisor to the French embassy in Nigeria, the French community in Nigeria, and a couple of other diplomatic concerns. Mr. Olufon is a member of Nigerian Bar Association and a committee member on international trade at the section of business law, amongst other professional associations and alliances. Please make some noise for Barrister Tosi Olufon. I want to see how excited you are at the comment section. Like, this is really important. Like, salary is really important. And I'm sure when we hear about money, we are really excited. I mean, while we are so excited about getting a job, it's really important we know our worth, what we're bringing to the table, so people don't, mistreat us at our place of work. Like, this is really important that we know some of these things. So Barrister Tosi Olufon, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me at this undergraduate summit of the Techy accountants. Thank you for the introduction also. Yes, my duty and assignment is to enlighten us as a lawyer on employment contracts and your rights as an employee. So what I'm going to do is to demystify what employment contracts are, and then proceed to let you know what your rights are as an employee vis-a-vis your duties and obligations to your employer. Firstly, let me start by saying that it's important that you understand that the law governs the entirety of your training, your certification and qualification, and now your employment and practice of your profession as accountants. The school you presently are enrolled at now is registered in compliance with law. Your course work is certified and authenticated by the Nigeria Universities Commission pursuant to law. So it is practically impossible for you to learn the profession of accounting and practice accounting without having to do with law all through your practice life. By way of an introduction of what employment contracts are, Employment contracts are governed by law, essentially, and under the auspices of labor laws, international labor law. Employment contracts are a subject of international labor law, but several countries have domesticated the regulation of employment contracts under their municipal labor laws. In Nigeria, the local legislation for the governance of employment contracts is the Nigerian labor law, which is what we call the Labor Act, Chapter L1 of the Laws of the Federation of Nigeria. Originally, the ground norm for, or let me say the basis for the Labor Act is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But apart from the Constitution and the Labor Act, other legislations also govern the regulation of the labor laws. Sorry, please, I'm trying to set my time. I know I have 15 minutes and I've not started at the time that I was built to. Yes. Okay, so other legislations that govern your employment are the Employees Compensation Act, the Factories Act, depends on the area of work that you find yourself, the Industrial Training Fund Act, the National Health Insurance Scheme Act, the National Housing Fund Act, the Pension Reform Act, and a host of other legislations that I would not want to mention now for brevity of time. All these laws work together in a mesh, in a synergy, to provide legislation and governance for the regulation of employment in the business and economic space. But under the Labor Act, it's important to explain to you that under the Labor Act, employees are categorized into two categories. You have the employees called the workers, and you have the employees referred to in law as the non-workers. The workers are people below your pay grade, people that are providing menial services like a driver, cleaner, gatesman, security, and the rest. So it helps you understand that category. While the law refers to your class of workers as non-workers. So non-workers are basically employees who are enlisted as graduates, or as professionals. Now, what happens under the law is that the provisions of the Labor Act expressly governs the employment of non-workers. That is the employers in the category below your cadre, while the Labor Act just provides a framework for what should regulate the employment of non-workers, which you fall into as undergraduates going to become graduates and going to be eligible for employment in the business place. Now, as non-workers, your employment is largely governed by the contract of employment that you enter into with your employer. So you can already tell that the dynamics are a bit different for you. So basically, that is a privilege to an extent, and that's also comes with a very big disadvantage, because under the law, it is not mandatory. Employment contracts are not part of the extreme contract. So you can actually be engaged orally if you do not pay attention to the fact that you actually need a paper contract. Under the Labor Act, you are entitled to be given a contract of employment in a hard copy form. But remember, I already told you that that act does not mandatorily regulate your type of employment. So if you do not get a contract of employment from your employer, it might not become an illegality because oral contracts are also enforceable. Now, the challenge is that when you have an oral contract and your contract is not written, you fall into a situation whereby a lot of gray areas ensue in the identification of what your rights and obligations are and what your protection is also under the said contract. Do we have a fine understanding of that so far? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, they're responding in the chat.
Good, thank you. All right, so let me proceed. I have painstakingly identified the fact that the crop of undergraduates that we're dealing with are, in our opinion, designed for the business place, the professional, private sector business place. Whereas there are a couple of you who might choose to be engaged in the public sector space. So there is a provision under the law for negotiation of contracts. So negotiation of contracts can be done by yourself, or you can have a collective negotiation structure, which is normally done by trade unions. So under the law, there's something called the CBA, which is the collective bargaining agreements, whereby organizations like trade union associations of Nigeria and so on bargain for your employment in a collective manner. But I would not imagine that that would be really applicable to you in the line of the course of your career and your emergence as accountant. So I would like us to focus on negotiating your contracts as individuals with your respective potential employers. When you are faced with the task of negotiating your contracts, it will be important for you to consult a lawyer at the point of negotiating that contract. Basically, contracts are written in law and not in English, even though you can read the contents to appear to be in English. You would need a lawyer or a very fine, decent understanding of the employment contract for you to be able to understand whether or not the contract favors you or favors your employer to your detriment. So it's important that you seek some level of advice or legal advice, specific legal advice on labor law. And in doing that, I will need you to take caution that every lawyer is not an expert in every area of law. Lawyers have proficiency in different areas of law. I have proficiency in labor law, land law, and other areas of law. Some lawyers do not have proficiency in that area, and they might not be able to specifically advise you to your advantage in that area. So anytime you are consulting a lawyer, ensure to ascertain the specificity of the said lawyer's proficiency to be sure that that lawyer has competence to advise you in the area of labor and employment laws. It's important that in negotiating your contracts, and for the brevity of time that we have in this session, I would like to pay attention to certain key areas that I think would affect your work, which would cover workplace discrimination, protection of business interests, data protection and employee privacy, and maternity and family rights. And then we'll talk about legal redress and dispute resolution. So firstly, in talking about your rights, let me talk about workplace discrimination. You need to look out for clauses in your contracts that protect you in the event of workplace discrimination, particularly when it has to do with health-related issues. Health-related issues, if you have underlying health challenges that would occasion you not to be at your best at work or will require you to seek certain exceptions from your employer, or especially in this time and age when we have certain levels of discrimination with regards to people that had contracted the COVID-19 virus. One of the experiences I've had is employees having discrimination challenges because of they are contracting the COVID-19 virus. So it will be important to have a clause in your contract which protects you in the event of such discrimination. The essence of having these clauses in your contract is so that you have an option of enforcing your rights or getting some kind of remedy or restitution in the event that such rights are violated. I think that takes us straight into the issue of data protection. The law provides for protection of your data that you provide your employer in the event of management of the data. So the law does not restrict your employer from receiving your data. The law actually governs how it is managed so that your data is not abused or is not released to third parties that you would not authorize your data to be released to. Also, this works as a double edge because your employer is responsible to you to manage your data properly and safely. You also have a duty of non-disclosure to your employer to ensure that information that is brought to your custody and to your knowledge in the course of your employment is managed by you in such a way that your employer is not put at risk. So it's important to have an underlying knowledge that as you have rights under the contract, so does your employer also. The two parties in the contract, your employer and yourself, have obligations to each other to protect their interests while they protect your interests also. I have 4 minutes more. I need to run. Let me talk about maternity leave and family rights. I think that is something you need to pay attention to as undergraduates and young people. The trajectory of every young person's life varies from employee to employee. Some of you are going to marry early, some of you are not. It's important that in negotiating your contract, since you already know that the benefits that will inure to you under your contract is basically based on whatever is the content of that contract. Whatever you omit to include in that contract by negotiating with your employer will not inure to you, and you will not be able to enjoy those benefits. So maternity leave and family rights is one of the things that you should negotiate. And the advantage of having a contract of employment is that you can actually get a longer period of time if your employer agrees to you based on your reputation in the firm and your efficiency and delivery. You might be able to get a time longer than that which is allowed under the law for workers as your maternity leave. And by law, you will be entitled to 50% of your income, your monthly income, while you're on that leave, which might span between 6 weeks, 12 weeks, or up to 3 months. Essentially, it's important that you have a fine written clause with regards to what your entitlements are in the course of the leave. And under the law in some states in Nigeria, in Lagos and Enugu State, you would be entitled as a man to paternity leave. But under other laws in Nigeria, there is no provision for recognizing that the man has a duty to play when his wife gives birth in the event that you are a male employee. But like I said, you also have an advantage because what you have is a contract of employment. You could, at the point of employment, negotiate for such clauses, even if you're not yet married, at the time of taking up your job. Yeah. I have 1 minute and 30 seconds, so let's go quickly to legal redress and dispute resolution. By law, in your contract of employment, you can have an option of redressing issues either by amicable negotiations within the confines of the establishment or by alternative dispute resolution. I normally do not advise alternative dispute resolution because of the cost implication. Alternative dispute resolution is very expensive and might be of detriment to you if your salary is not in 6 digits. So I think that in negotiating your contracts, we should opt for the option of litigation in the event that alternative amicable resolutions do not resolve your disputes. By law, the court with exclusive jurisdiction to adjudicate employment disputes is the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. In several years back, it used to be the Federal High Court of Nigeria, but after some amendments to the law, a special court was created for resolving disputes, recognizing the fact that employment and labor relations is a very major area in our laws. I normally advise undergraduates and members of the academy to conduct themselves in such a way that they actually avoid disputes as much as possible. I think that if you discharge your duties to your organization as diligently as you can, and you paid attention at the time of contracting, you would be able to a very large extent avoid any major disputes that would lead to a litigation because of the challenge of disrupting your work life and your career and growth. It's really important to pay attention to avoiding disputes. Not to the extent of being intimidated, but it's good to encourage a healthy work environment so that you can grow and you can excel at what you do exceptionally. Thank you. I think that's what we can do within 15 minutes allotted for this session. Thank you very much for having me. Let me know if there are any questions.
Thank you, Barrister Tosin. Please, a hand of applause for Barrister Tosin. Please,
before they start clapping, please wait. Before they start clapping, there's a question, and I don't want it to move up because we definitely missed that question. It was sent in the chat. So someone is asking, blessing, although please, if you want to ask questions, use the Q&A so that it doesn't get mixed up with the chat. Please, I have a quick question, sir. In a situation or during an interview where one has already stated how much he or she desires to be paid, but eventually finds out that the firm could pay more than was stated, what could one possibly do about this? Is there a law that governs restatements? Thank you.
Okay, by way of legal opinion, there is no law that governs restatements. As long as you have not signed the contract, you've not executed the contract, I think there's room for you to renegotiate. But I think that what you should do, most importantly, is to try and not find yourself in that kind of situation, because your potential employer or your employer might not be able to reverse themselves on an amount that they've agreed to engage you for. One of the objectives is to get the best hands for the most economical rate. So it's good for you to have proper guidance before you begin to negotiate the fee that you would want to negotiate with your employer before you go that far.
Yes, sir. There's a question I want to ask on my end. I remember you mentioned that contracts are written in law and not in English. And most companies give offer letter, it doesn't contain so much information. I mean, it's always straightforward. You don't really need a lawyer to help you read that. So what do you do? Because this offer letter is actually different from a contract, an employment contract. What do you do? Do you ask for an employment contract?
Okay, I think that when you encounter an organization that issues you a letter of employment instead of a contract of employment, what it automatically tells you is that they are unwilling to spend money on having qualitative legal solutions with regards to advisory that governs proper contracting with the employees. That is a red light. So I think that what you should do is you cannot request for a contract of employment because they will not be able to provide it for you because they've not engaged a professional who can actually put up one for them. So what they would have normally done in my experience is that they would have procured one either from the internet, from another jurisdiction that is not applicable to Nigeria, or from a fellow organization that has used such document before. And they try to adapt it as much as they can. So those kind of contracts cannot be said to be written in law. Those ones are written in English. But you have to be painstaking to be sure that it covers you and to a very large extent, and you will not be at a disadvantage. For whatever it's worth, it's good to seek a legal guidance as to whether you should sign such or accept such a letter. Because I know that what they normally do is they have the letter and then they have a short form at the bottom where you just write that you accept whatever is written above, which is actually against the law, because that is not a negotiation between two parties. That is an imposition by one party on another, and to a very large extent, that if it's improperly done, it might limit your options for a redress in the event of a violation of your rights. Most major rights that will be violated is non-payment of your salaries, basically. Yeah, in such a situation. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
There is another question, and it says, my question is, can there be a flat rate for all employees who have same degree in all private institutions?
Okay, that is all employments are subject to contracts, and all those contracts are not at times they're uniform, at times they're not. So it's challenging for you to be able to discover if your employment is subject to the same rate or the same salary scale as other people already employed in the establishment. But of course, if it happens that you are not on the same salary scale, you're on a lower salary scale than people at the same level of engagement, that might border on an issue of discrimination. But it will be challenging for you to establish discrimination because your contract is different from the other employees' contract, and the motivation for the negotiations might have been different, which will have necessitated the variation in the salary scale. So if you have an upper hand in the course of your negotiation, you could actually be the one who would be placed on a higher salary scale than other people employed at a similarly equal scale as you.
Okay, there is another question, and I think the person is trying to get more information from what Kemi said. Fatima said, what about contracts that contain something like subject to review by our solicitors?
Subject to review. Yeah, subject to review means that subsequently they want to review it. Anytime they have a clause subjecting the contract to review, you also have a right to review. So every time they review, you also have a right to review whether what has been reviewed is acceptable to you or not. But for all intent and purposes, the employment space is not a contentious space. I think that we should have a mindset that it's a business space. So basically, it's about negotiation and your negotiation skills. So don't be cantankerous or be offensive about it. They're just trying to, it's like chess. They're just trying to position themselves as an advantage. So also have the mindset to put yourself also as an advantage. And always try to play on what you bring to the table, which is the essence of the techie accountant. Techie accountant is supposed to help you recognize the importance of becoming very skillful and competent, because that is a foundation for being in a position to negotiate effectively in your contracts.
Okay, there is another question. Said, in a state where paternity leave isn't covered by the law, but I think the person is trying to say by the contract, would you renegotiate with your employee, the individual or the individual's layer?
Oh, the individual or the individual's lawyer. No, you negotiate with your employer. If you're an employee, you negotiate with your employer if there is no provision for paternity leave and you envisage that you would need one. You negotiate with your employer as to paternity leave and the modalities of how you apply and how many days you will be entitled to.
Okay, I have a question myself. In a situation where, you know, some of these undergraduates will be new into the labor market, and there is any form of discrimination or mistreatment in their workplace, and, you know, maybe they cannot afford to contract a lawyer, is there any union or any form of association where they can, you know, report their displeasures?
Okay, I think it depends on the level of discrimination that you are aggrieved of. If you come to me as a lawyer and you report a discrimination that I think it's not very disruptive to you, I would advise that you let it go because of so when you're young, you have certain disadvantages, which should not be. It's just because we're in a Nigerian climate. So I'm giving you a legal advice that will help you to survive in the Nigerian business climate. If the discrimination is not damaging, I think that you let it be. If you want to walk away from the organization, then you walk away. I would only advise that you take up an action against an organization if the level of discrimination offends you grievously. If not, I think that you should focus on building. You realize that as you grow in the profession, as you grow in your career, as you become more skillful and competent, some things will not happen to you anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Barrister Tosin. And then a round of applause for Barrister Tosin. Like, this is really, really good, you know. When you know you're right, and when you know, yes, this is what I deserve, and I know that I am what they're paying me, and yes, so this is really, really insightful. Please, a hand of applause for Barrister Tosin.
Thank you very much. And shortly before I go, please, my very short advice with regards to your tweet that went viral about the interview session. I think that you need to recognize that, firstly, every time there's an advert for a job opening, it means that the company is telling you that they have a need, while you are saying by putting in for that job opportunity, you're saying that you're able to solve their problem. Now, the only thing that you are supposed to do is to provide yourself, make yourself available for the interview, whether it is virtual or it is real time. Now, if whether it's virtual or physical, rather. Now, when you get to the interview session, how the employer decides to conduct their interview, whether they want to discuss football or they want to discuss politics or they want to discuss food and drinks, is not your business. What you are supposed to do is to adapt to whatever medium of interview or whatever module of interview the employer has elected and participate, instead of saying that you're minding your business. You are not there to mind your business. If you wanted to mind your business, you'd have just stayed at home and not attend the interview. So let's open our minds up. An interview session is not a place to mind your business. An interview session is a place to get engaged and interactive. And whatever the employer wants to discuss is the employer's prerogative. Basically, they are trying to observe you and identify something that you might not know. And if you have an open mind and you participate decently, you might just get the job and you might just impress your interviewer. Thank you.
Okay, there is another question. The person said, what do one do when you are asked to state your expected salary?
Oh yeah, we can't take more questions. Thank you. Thank you. We need to move to the next thing.
We're running out of time. We have spent so much time already. Thank you very much, Barrister. Personally, I always learn something from every session, both at the academy and even when we have special programs like this. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. We're very grateful. Quickly, we have our next speaker available, and we'll be bringing him up shortly. But in the next few minutes, we want to quickly sneak in one or two things. First, drum rolls, we have good news. Some people indicated that the last question was so important. Oh, let me look at it. Sorry, Blessing. Okay. Okay, well, you see, Barrister is not HR professional, but we will let him answer this question if he can. So, Barrister, please, they are asking that you answer the question.
Yes, please.
Okay, they said, what do one do when you are asked to state your expected salary?
I think that you should always do your research. That's one aspect that potential employees omit to pay attention to. You pay attention to what you can do for the employer, but you don't pay attention to how you want to negotiate your reward system. So I think that you should have done your research, both online and interact with people that have similar job roles in similar organizations, so that you are actually negotiating your fee arrangements from an informed perspective. The level of confidence that is born out of your information and aiding your negotiation will help you get what you want or very close to what you want. If your employer realizes that you're ignorant as to what you should earn, they would play on it and you would be cheated. Well, it will not be cheating, you will settle for something lesser.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I hope that's very helpful. Okay, we'll move on quickly. Right now we would do, we put it out, we sent emails out that if you wanted scholarship to be part of the Techy Accountant Academy, you should fill a form. And we had like a whole lot of responses. Well, we struggled to pick a good number of people, and we just were able to pick 4 people. But even if your name is not announced, please don't feel too bad. We have some other things coming, and we will be in touch. Not to worry, we'll be in touch. So for the first person that will be getting the scholarship, we have John Ate. I saw his name earlier. I don't know if he's still here. John, if you're here, let's see you in the chat box. Congratulations, John. Are you here? You were here earlier. Ah, John is here. Nice one. Congratulations, John. Okay, we'll move faster.
Please go ahead and read the names. Thank you.
Okay. We have Oladeji Oladipupo as the next person. Or if you're here, just let us know. We have Chinaza Promise Nwosu. If you're here to let us know. And lastly, we have Mistura Adenuga Okweyemi. So I'll call out the names again. John Ate, Oladeji Oladipupo, Chinaza Nwosu, and Mistura Adenuga Okweyemi. Nice. So I think we can confirm 2, and then we'll move to the next one. So we'll look out for the remaining 2 people and see if they respond or if they reach out to contact them also. All right. Oye, please take over, and then let's do the next giveaway. We want to do this session just so that we lighten up the environment. Oh, your microphone.
Oh, yeah, you are muted. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay, so because of time, we would drop questions on the chat box, and we would like lots of you to attempt the question. There is giveaway for the person that will get the question, and because of time, we would want, if you answer and you get it correctly, we will DM you and we'll give you our prize. So because of time, I will drop the questions on the chat box, and I hope lots of you attempt. Like there are juicy giveaways for people that will get the question.
So while they're trying to, okay, is that the question? Are you projecting the question?
No,
I think we should make you know how people were choosing for the scholarship. It's very important that we talk about that, the transparency. There was actually a form sent to people to fill and to state why you were asked some questions. Let me be frank with you. We got more than 100, I think about 200 responses, but you see more than half of it, we could tell that some of you just filled that form for the sake of filling it. You did not answer those questions properly. And that's why you did not stand a chance of being chosen for the scholarship. Why am I saying this? It's important. Whenever you're giving an opportunity, please always put your best foot forward. What do I mean by that? Give it your best. Don't be lazy about it. We saw a lot of lazy applications. I'm just being realistic here. And I thought that this feedback is good for you. So if you fall into that category, don't feel bad. It's just a feedback for you to work on and to be better as well. Thank you.
All right, do we have answers to the questions yet as we move on? We have to speed up. Onye, are you on it? Or should we pause till?
Are you not supposed to post the question on the Q&A or put it on the Q&A session so that it doesn't disappear? Okay, Kemi, while she's doing that, let's go ahead.
All right. We have our next speaker. His name is Mr. Babajide Ibironke, and he will be taking us on navigating the corporate ladder as a finance professional. I personally believe that this session is very important because this is someone who has a track record, and we have people who are just about to start their career. And I believe that you can learn a few things from his journey and the tips and tricks that he might be sharing with you. So quickly, I'll read his profile. Mr. Babajide is an award-winning Chief Financial Officer at CFO with broad expertise and experience in finance strategy and general management roles in global and market positions across the world. He is a fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants UK, a fellow of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, that's ICANN, and a fellow of Chartered Institute of Taxation Nigeria, that's CITN, as well as owner of ACCA Diploma in International Financial Reporting. He has represented Nigeria as ACCA International Assembly in the UK from 2011 to 2013 and has been elected as the chair of the ACCA Nigeria Advisory Committee from 2014 to 2020. He has been elected also as the Global Council member of ACCA. Isn't this an intimidating profile? And I'm sure this is just a summary. So please, I know we're not all Christian, but with massive joy in our hearts, please, let's welcome Mr. Babajide. He's a returning visitor or a returning speaker for us at the Academy, and we are so grateful that he made our time to be here today. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for inviting me in for this session. I want to say good afternoon to everyone. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege for me to be, should I say, standing or sitting here today and talking to, and it's always a joy to my heart speaking to young people. Myself, I call myself the youngest old man, so I'm not as old as well. I'm also still young. So yeah, it's a privilege to be here, and I'm liking all the everything I've been hearing here today. It shows me that it's a future. It shows me that if you put all of these things in practice, we will go a long way in our own life and in being able to help ourselves to climb up the ladder. And I like the topic you've given me, which is navigating the corporate ladder. As a finance professional, I'm happy that people are interested in this topic, and it's a very important topic that is very dear to my heart because I want to see every young finance professional climb that ladder and get to the top. So I'll say see you at the top to everyone. So how do you climb the corporate ladder? How do you navigate the corporate ladder as a finance professional? And I will tell you clearly about my story. And I think I feel one or two things you can pick there that may be of value to you as you climb your own corporate ladder. I'm still climbing though. It doesn't mean that I'm there. I'm still climbing. And there's an opportunity for me to climb even more. I will. So as you climb your own ladder, I will just share a few tips with you, and I will tell you a story about my own climbing experience. Like I said, it might be interesting to pick one or two things from there. So how do you climb this ladder? The ladder is in front of you. If you're lucky enough, you have one. All right. And some of us are not that lucky. We have to create one. So it depends on whether you already have a ladder or you don't have one, in which case you might have to create one. So by creating a ladder, I mean, you may not have been given any opportunity, given your background, given your qualification, given you where you are today. And maybe you have a lot of potentials, but there is no resources to be able to pursue what you would like to have as a finance professional. So you might have to kind of find that ladder for yourself. I found one for myself, and I will tell you how. So I finished a bit. I finished I finished secondary school as a young man, and like every other Nigerian, in our own days, there are no private universities in the country. And even if there was, our parents couldn't afford one. So you have to still go through JAM and, of course, find the university of your choice. I've always wanted to be an accountant. So as early as age 8, I was clear in my mind what I wanted to be because I came from a very humble background. My father was a farmer before we made him retire, not too long ago. He was a farmer up to very, very recently when he retired. But that time he was in active farming, and he used to deal in cocoa crop. And so he would sell his cocoa products, farm produce, and get money from the produce buyers. And on this particular day, he sold on a Friday, and they gave him a check, which he needed to cash on Monday morning in a bank before going back to the farm. And I've sort of escorted him to the bank. I like to follow him, everywhere in those days. So we went to the banking all together, went to see the accountant of the bank. In those days, you have accountant in the bank, and the accountant usually are big people in those days in the bank. That in the days of, armchair banking in Nigeria, where you'll be given a tally, you go and queue until it's your turn before they call you to come and cash your check. So, but instead of queuing, because the accountant is someone we know, he was the treasurer in our church, you had just to go and sit in his office before my dad was attended to. And I love what I saw, and it was there and then I decided I was going to be an accountant. So I was pretty much clear early in life that I really wanted to be an accountant. So it was there I started growing the interest and finding everything that would make me to become an accountant. So when I finished school, it was very easy for me to choose accountancy. So I chose Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and as my first choice. And the second choice was University of Ilorin, where I've chosen University of Ilorin as my second choice. But in those days, if you don't know anybody in universities in Nigeria, you even if you have a good result, you may not get the course that you wanted. So I got a good grade, all straight A's in my WAEC, and I scored very high in my JAM, but that didn't give me the choice. It was very competitive in those days, and you don't know anybody, you might not get what you wanted. So they gave me agric economics at OAU as an admission, at that time. So I had to go to my second choice, University of Ilorin. And it was when I got there, I found that University of Ilorin had already started the semester. They used to be very fast in those days in Ilorin. And so I was late. Everybody had started the session. And I was on my way back from that event that I joined some certain number of students who were also looking for admission. We went to some certain school on our way back to Lagos, and I stopped by at Osun State Polytechnic, where I was admitted, immediately with my result and all of that. I got admitted into the accountancy and department, and I was told that I could do ICANN. I was in OND1, and when I was in OND2, at the point I was doing my internship, we call it 1 year CWES. I was already a chartered accountant. So I started pretty much early. And being a chartered accountant as a student, there was no ladder whatsoever. I had to create one by helping with some tuition in the school. So I started pretty much as a lecturer in my school while I was still a student, having qualified, assisting as a graduate assistant in the Department of Accountancy of the school. And that was why I got my own ladder, and I started climbing the ladder from there until, pretty much started working in manufacturing and then up to this time. But one thing that I can't, pinpoint that has been very helpful in my climbing the ladder is the fact that I did not stop nor relent in my effort at learning and trying to learn more. So I committed to a lifelong learning that made me see every opportunity to learn as one that I would jump at. When I was writing ICANN exams, I used to see on all our past questions, I would see ACCA adapted. And it was in process I asked my mentor, who then was more or less like my head of department where I was lecturing. And he told me that it's a body called ACCA, it's a global body for accountants. And I said, oh, snap, that's what I'll go for. So I started reading for ACCA again. But when I got a job in a bank, I left it because the banking work and a lot of other, when you work in a bank in those days, particularly when you work in a department I used to work, it's called financial control. It used to be very, very tasking. And so you barely have any time to do any other things. So I had to leave for a while until I realized that there's so many things that I did not, basically because I was a bit young and naive at that time. I literally read and passed. I didn't really get a proper grasp of what accounting was all about. And so I saw that it was a need for me to go back and complete my ACCA qualification. And then after some years of working, I went back to class. And again, there was no ACCA tuition house, in Nigeria in those days. You have to study on your own. You have to order the textbook, and you have to ensure that you read on your own to pass. And then it started. And that was why when I finished the ACCA program, one of the things that I committed to doing in terms of giving back is to ensure that we start the ACCA tuition in Nigeria. And I was privileged to be one of the first people to start the tuition in Nigeria, so we can start to assist students to be able to qualify for the ACCA program in Nigeria. And so it was one of the ways, another opportunity that I had to also bring another ladder that I could climb on this professional journey. And because it was a commitment to a lifelong journey and learning, it was very easy for me to engage in conversation because the brain is always, refreshing almost every weekend when you go, to lecture and all of that. And thank you. I've seen somebody who wrote it there. He said, yes, Synergy Professional, and you are right. Synergy Professional was pretty much afterwards. So Miriam, Synergy Professional was in 2005. I'm talking of when we started. The first one before Synergy Professional is called SWOT Associate. Not so many people knew SWOT Associate at that point. So we started first as SWOT Associates, and in 2005, we started with Synergy Professionals. SWOT Association was formed around 2000, early 2000. It was like 5 years before we formed Synergy Professional at that time. But what that does for you is that because you are engaged in a lifelong learning, it then keeps you afresh. It keeps you to be updated. You know what is going on in the profession. You are up to date to keep yourself abreast. Those are the little things that people don't take into account as they want to climb on the ladder. Because at the end of the day, what people don't realize is it is not just about your technical knowledge or know-how. Sometimes human relation is very important. How you even communicate what you know, it's important. How to behave and to, work with people and comport yourself in workplace are also very important things that people need to know and to be mindful of as you climb that ladder in the corporate space, particularly as a finance professional. So our landscape, as professional landscape for the finance professional, is changing. And I was privileged to be part of that change. All right. So I started my career in the days when you almost want to do everything on paper. Up to today, where when you join any organization today, the first thing they will give you is a computer. But in those days, the first thing you struggle for is a table and a chair and a paper. Today, you probably don't even need a table in the office anymore. But as you go through that evolution, I want finance professionals don't realize is that accounting is a language of business, and business in itself is ever dynamic. And because the business is dynamic, accounting that speaks the language of business can never remain static. So accountants who still live in yesterdays and still believe that things can be done the way they were done years before are the accountants that are caught up in that, in that space. They don't understand that, as business evolves, the profession, the finance professional profession is also evolving. And that evolution is what I want to speak to a little bit more today. And navigating that, finance terrain means that yourself as a finance professional will continue to evolve as our profession evolves. So what am I saying? You will recall that we used to call financial reporting in those days, we used to call it accounting, just as an example, because there are quite a number of areas where evolution has taken over quite a number of things, and we have evolved from what it used to be to what it is today. I'll just take financial reporting as an example, and I'll talk about data, and then I would, some sort of speak to some questions that you might have. So I will start, like I said, with financial reporting. Yesterday, it was called accounting, all right? So what we were doing in those days is purely accounting. So if I can use the word I like to use the most, my what I can call familiar terrain is financial reporting standard. So we used to have international accounting standard. Okay, we used to call it international accounting standard, but today we don't call it international accounting standard anymore. We call it international financial reporting standard. Now that is today, talking about what we used to call and what we are calling it. But you see, that has even changed in a way, because what we have seen today is that we now have more of financial reporting to deal with. The body that was responsible for setting the standard that we use for preparing financial statements, we used to call them International Accounting Standard Board. But today they changed their name around 2001 to IFRS Foundation. And the standard they now set today is called International Financial Reporting Standard. And because of the success that that organization has made in the IFRS space, all right, only last year, all right, the IFAC, International Federation of Accountants, mandated the organization and worked with them to start another board called ISSB. ISSB is International Sustainable Standard Board that in November 2021 had also, been the body that is responsible for setting sustainable standards. So yesterday, financial reporting used to be accounting. Today, it is financial reporting. Tomorrow, it will be called integrated reporting, and it's migrating from integrated reporting and evolving into sustainability reporting. These are issues that the finance professional that want to evolve, that want to navigate this difficult terrain, should begin to monitor and appreciate that this evolution is a reality, and they begin to get themselves, involved and ensure that they continue to, evolve together with the profession, because like I said earlier on, accounting is the language of business, and business is ever dynamic. So accounting that is the language of business cannot afford to remain static. All right. So that is for the financial reporting space. Another big issue that we're seeing today, and I can speak to a lot of those, because today, like I said, as a finance professional, if you sit down where you were, or you are learning the way it was done last week or yesterday, you probably won't be there in the future. So we have seen emerging technologies around, blockchains, big data, drone technology, natural language processing, data analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We've seen some predictive analytics coming up. We have seen organizations engaging robotic process automation in getting their activities to be more efficient in the way they work. For instance, blockchain is a system of recording information in a way that makes it difficult or impossible to change or to hack or to cheat the system. And that is why, the decentralized, what we call the distributed ledger system can work. So today you have digital currencies like Bitcoin. Those are areas that a finance professional of today must get interested in, because again, how do you account for digital currency? How do you account for cryptocurrency, so to speak? Is it a financial instrument? Is it an asset? Is it an intangible asset? What type of asset is it? How do you record it? As a finance professional, if you don't know how and what these transactions or these current emerging technologies are, it will be very, very difficult for you to even deal with them in the first instance. Another area that I think that finance professionals must continue to hone their skills is also in the area of big data. So data, for instance, today, data that is not used or analyzed in any way, shape, or form has no value. But once, data is cleaned or processed or transformed in one way, shape, or form and can be analyzed, such data can, bring a lot of value, and it becomes an important form of organizational capital. And as a finance professional, that should be our very comfortable place to be. So big data is the vast volume of data that can be accessed and used used strategically by any function or any business. Accountants are, naturally, we are the custodian of data in organization. And essentially, there are quite a number of, types of data analytics that we can do, in our space as finance professionals. So you can do stuff like, descriptive, you can do predictive, you can even do prescriptive. So what do all those things mean? As a finance professional, you should get interested and know that descriptive analysis is the analysis of data to observe what has been and what is currently happening. We want to be able to describe, and an example of that could be for you to be able to analyze data by products. All right, predictive analytics involved using some techniques that allow the business leader to evaluate strategies and to be able to anticipate strategic outcome depending on the scenario that will play out. So for instance, on your Excel, spreadsheets, you can use some scenario manager, create some excellent tools that you can use to do some what-if analysis to see how how sensitive a particular variable can be to certain decision making. You can also do a number of prescriptive. All right, prescriptive analysis is potentially the most powerful form of data analytics. And for decision makers and business leaders, it is a field of analytics that concerns with optimization, such as you want to see how you can maximize sales in particular place, how you want to minimize your costs, how you want to maximize profits. Prescriptive analytics draw upon some techniques that are commonly available also in spreadsheet. And there are quite a number of other technology that can be used in this space as well. So there are quite a number of things that you can do as a finance professional to ensure that you remain relevant in this space. Because organizations that you now work for today, particularly some, world biggest tech companies like, maybe Facebook, name them, a large part of the value that they offer comes from their data. And they are constantly analyzing this data and producing them and developing revenue stream from such data. So sophisticated data analytics is about accessing the data, which is useful for decision making. And of course, they have a lot of characteristics. 5 of those characteristics have been identified to be those that can improve the quality of decision making. And it can be in terms of their volume, their velocity, their variety, the veracity, and their value. So I would just encourage the finance professional of today, apart just from hearing some of these new technologies, so we should get interested, because if you are not in the train, you just find out that the train has dropped you at the bus stop and you're wondering what has just happened. And that is what is happening to so many people's career today. So I will just stop here at this point and see if there are questions that anybody might have as we go on this session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. The chat box is open for questions and whatever concerns you might have. I really like this presentation because it's reminded me of a conversation I had with Mrs. Stone a particular day when we were talking about emerging technology. She said that a lot of people are doing data analytics, and some people in medicine, some people that studied pharmacy and all of that are now going into data analytics. I mean, it's the new oil. But she said something that stood out. She said that it's not about doing data analytics, it's understanding data analytics, being able to interpret those data that you've analyzed. She said that the reason why it's more important for account or finance professionals to go into data analytics and other new roles that have emerged in the finance industry is because they understand this more than any other discipline. So I think that is what Mr. Babajide is trying to tell us about the new roles that have emerged and how we can tap into some of these new roles. And even recently, just like Mrs. Stone said when she started the presentation about people staying in Nigeria to work abroad, like these new roles have given room for people to stay in Nigeria and work in any part of the world. Like it's really, really important that accounts professionals start tapping into this new emerging roles. So I'm looking forward to any questions on how or some of the things, or maybe courses, or how can we tap into these new roles? Like how do we what do we need? What are the basic skills we need to tap into these new roles? I'm waiting for some of your questions.
Okay, I think there's one question. So, sir, I hope you're still there. Oye, can you see the questions in the Q&A? There's a question from Damilari. So start from Damilari or Batola question.
Okay. Okay. So much has been said about blockchain technology as being immutable. It is permanent and unadulteratable. What impact will blockchain make in gathering audit evidence?
What impact will blockchain make in what?
What impact will blockchain make in gathering audit evidence?
Okay, so there are tools for gathering audit evidence. Maybe you want to say what impact would technology make in gathering audit evidence? Because if I'm your auditor and you're dealing with blockchain, I'm still going to audit that process using an audit technique to be able to gather my evidence. But you see, when you think of audit evidence, ISA 500 was very clear on how to gather audit evidence. You know, according to that standard, we call it International Standard on Auditing. When you are gathering audit evidence, you look at whether it is sufficient and appropriate. Sufficiency and appropriateness, you know, audit evidence is what you need to be able to draw a conclusion as an auditor. And in gathering audit evidence, what I tell people about audit, particularly audit risk, is that technology has come to help the auditor to do their job and make them more efficient. Audit is done on a sampling basis, for instance. You cannot do today 100% sample on an audit. But with technology like artificial intelligence, it then helps you, whether it is blockchain or real ledger or real transaction, rather than do that audit in sampling on sampling basis, the technology enables you to do 100% tests. 100%, and I've seen technology around that would make auditors do 100% tests. One of the major audit risk is, from the auditor's perspective, we call it detection risk, is the risk that the auditor would not detect any error from the financial statement that has been prepared to them because of sampling risk. So what technology has done is that it has totally eliminated the sampling risk, but as opposed to testing on sampling basis, you can then test 100%. So I give you an example. If there were 1 million transactions in a particular organization in a year, as an auditor, if I test 300,000 out of 1 million transactions, I have tried in those days. In fact, if I tell anybody that I've taken 300,000 samples in any particular audit, they will clap for me. But there is still a risk that the error that I'm looking for will not be in that 300. It will be in the 700 that I did not select. So that risk is what technology like artificial intelligence and knowing how to use big data can help you totally eliminate. So this is not limited to blockchain alone, all right? It is the same audit techniques and processes and procedure that you will perform on any audit, and technology has come to help you with that and make it a bit more efficient. I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you, sir. There is another question. Are all specialization of accounting geared towards upcoming technology, for example, auditing?
I didn't quite get that question. If you want to say it again.
Are all specialization of accounting geared towards upcoming technology, for example, auditing?
Maybe I will structure the question differently.
Yeah.
Maybe the question should be that, will technology affect all aspects of accounting? And the answer is yes. In fact, everything we do today. So I will tell you my experience. When I started my career, I started with the then Prudent Merchant Bank. You know, I served with them. And then after service, I was retained. I left Prudent Merchant Bank to work with City Express Bank. And then I went to work with First Bank. When I joined First Bank in early 2000, right? One of the jobs that we used to do in those days were carried out on a ledger called Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo is a very big manual ledger, big like this. If you don't even have proper muscle, you may not be able to carry it. So you will go to the appropriate ledger, you open the ledger the way they taught you, debit and credit. That is how you actually stated in the Kalamazoo. And that was what we used to do in those days. In fact, the man who used to keep that used to be a very big man, a senior manager for that matter. But if that was the only thing we have been doing in the banking system today, whoever has that technology or whoever is the custodian of that book will have no job today, because the whole of that process is now being eliminated by technology in the banking today. One of the reasons why I told you my story of how I went with my dad to a bank when I was 8 years old and we stayed so long. One of the reasons why they used to delay us in banking in those days is that they will have to open. It was when I grew up and I started working that I realized why they used to keep us waiting, because they have to go to that Kalamazoo, open the ledger that belongs to you. Instead of just keying your account number and system prompt out your balances, somebody will go there and go meet the accountant who will rule the balances, check the amount you collected last, check the balance you have on your account and rule out that you have enough accounts, and then sign off before it goes to cashier and then before they pay you the money. That's what was taking process in those days. But technology has eliminated all of that. And that is why today you can just go to any ATM and put in your card and you withdraw money without even visiting them. I can't remember the last time I was in the banking hall, right? But in those days, you have to go to banking hall more frequently. So the same way that technology has taken away those tasks, particularly those repetitive tasks that we do in finance yesterday, the same way we take some repetitive tasks today and tomorrow, whether it is in audit or in financial reporting or in taxation or in account receivable, account payable, or any form of accounting for that matter, technology has come to stay. It is the way that we live our life. It has affected the way we even relate with people. today's program wouldn't have been possible like this without technology. We'll all have gathered together in a particular location, but I don't even know where you are in the world and you are having this technology. I mean, you're having this program, and that is aided by technology. The same way technology has changed the way we work, the way we live, and accounting is no exception. In fact, if anything at all, it has affected us in this profession than anybody else because we are a support function in any organization. Thank you.
Okay. David, now please, Mrs. Toyin will answer your question when she's taking up her own section. I'll go to the next question. As the accounting board are changing, is there any change? As the accounting board are changing, is there any changes also in the financial preparation and presentation? And how do we meet up with those changes?
Yeah, there are changes every day.
Every day.
There are changes every day. In fact, I lecture ICANN and ACCA students, and I tell them every day. In fact, in ACCA, for instance, the syllabus that I use for my students just this last June is not the same syllabus I'm using for them for those writing September. So we have seen this constant change in syllabus and in the financial reporting standard because, like I said to you earlier on, the business is ever dynamic. The business itself is ever dynamic. And accounting is the language of business. So if accounting that is the language of business, if the business itself is dynamic, then accounting that the language that the business speaks as a language cannot afford to remain static. So we need to change with time. And it is your job. If you want to really climb the ladder in this profession, you need to be attuned and keep yourself abreast of these changes and make sure that you are up to date and you update your skill or upskill or reskill as and when necessary in the scheme of things. And how you can do that is to simply do what I did, for instance. Just guide yourself to write any professional examination, write ICANN exam, write ACCA, don't stop at that. Keep updating yourself. We have mandatory continuous professional development that you can also be doing as a member of this profession. You cannot afford to remain stagnant or static because the world is moving. You have to move with the world.
I started learning data analysis recently, and I am currently learning the structure query language, SQL. Do you think it is enough for database management as an undergraduate?
So as an undergrad, I do not advise you to go and learn any particular area, all right? As an undergrad, what I would say is you need to have a general knowledge about some of these things. And there are quite a number of articles that you can read up. I would encourage you to always visit ACCA website, www.accglobal.com. You can see a wide range of topics that you can read about. But the moment you decide on what you want to do, and part of the things I wanted to say earlier on in my presentation is it's always very good to have a career path. You need to have a career path. What I mean by that is that when you're starting out your career, you need to have a plan, how and what you want to be in the future. So in this profession, there are so many routes to that ladder you talked about. I was very clear in my own view, I want to be an accountant. So I remember in my school in those days, we've got some audit firm come to school to recruit people who are on first class. You know, I was recruited in the process, more so that I was already a chartered accountant as an undergrad. But I was given a role that I saw was not aligning with my career path. So I had a career path. I've always wanted to be a CFO in an organization. So, but the role they offered me is a role that I do not see how it would take me to where I wanted to be. So I simply declined. So you might want to start with a career path. And one of the things that we have done in ACCA, for instance, that's why I said we should visit the ACCA website, is that we have some career navigator that can help you navigate how to get to where you want to be. And we have some capability and competency framework that can also help you to be able to navigate through how you want to be able to move as a finance professional. So I will encourage you to visit ACCA website a lot. I'll put it on the chat box. If you're interested, you can visit it afterwards, or you reach out to Toyin. Toyin would guide on how to do that. She's also equally a big member of ACCA, right?
Okay, there is a question. Please give us an example of artificial intelligence used in conducting audits or gathering audit evidence.
There are a lot of them, but where do I start from? There are so many of them. And what audit firms have done is not to have a particular one. So they have incorporated them into the technology that they use in their firms. So we have Caseware, for instance. That Caseware is used by the likes of KPMG. You know, some auditor have also found a way to configure it to give it their own name. So there is no one technology that can be used for everything. Everybody is taking in parts and incorporating to the existing technology that they use to be able to, you know, become more efficient in their audit process. So there is no one single one. There are various ones and there are various techniques. Artificial intelligence is not just one thing. There are so many things that different parts that you can, you know, take to be able to help you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. But it starts from machine learning. So you can't use artificial intelligence without machine learning. So it has to do with machine learning. You have to make machine learn to think how a human thinks to be able to do some certain thing in a particular way. Then once you mimic that process, then that's what goes into your artificial intelligence, and you can even augment it a little bit to augment reality and make it some, you know, RPA, which you call robotic process automation. So it's a whole lot that we need to take like 3, 4, 5 different sessions to be able to explain to you how it works. But get interested, go to those websites, read more. Anything you want to know is on that website that I put on the Zoom chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
We're running late, and I think it's way we've exceeded our time, and I'm seeing that a lot of you have questions. During the mentoring section, or yes, Mrs. Doyle will talk more about some of the questions you people have. She will cover all of it. So I'll give the floor to my colleague.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Babadi. It's always refreshing hearing you speak. Thank you so much for your time. We know how busy you are. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. I would also be sharing Mr. Babadi's profile with you, so you can also reach out to him on LinkedIn, connect with him, and follow him on LinkedIn. We would be sharing that with you, all our speakers today, and then you can always maybe ask your questions via LinkedIn too, but we will try as much as possible to answer the ones we can in the Q&A. Has it been so far for you? Okay, it's still, I wish I could pin this chat, but it says search for big data, data analytics, etc. So please follow the chat box. Yeah. So we earlier announced, we still have some things to give away. We earlier announced the beneficiary of the scholarship. We announced John, we announced Olajide, and I think those were the 2 people that signified. We also announced Chinaza Nwosu. If you're here, please let me know you're here. And I think the last person was Mistura, but I don't think Mistura is here at the moment. And so we are giving that slot out. For those that we have announced earlier, please send us an email to look at the chat box. Mistura Okwayemi Adenuga, if you are here, just message. If not, I have somebody else that's about to take that slot. So I'm going to drop the email. Please send us an email stating that you're the beneficiary, and then we can take it up from there. Thank you. Okay, so the last person that will be giving the scholarship slot to is Cynthia. I don't know if I pronounced your surname well, but it's Ojong, I don't know, Ojong. You've been very active here. Yeah, exactly. Cynthia, that's you. Congratulations. You'll be taking the last slot for the scholarship. Please send us an email. Please send us an email to this effect. Yeah, so we wrap it up with the scholarship. So we have other things still coming up. We still have some things to give away. We have some people to recognize that are here. So if you have been active since the beginning, please do not go away. Do not go away. We still have some things for you. And right now we'll be doing we'll be giving out airtime to people. So we know that you've spent time to be here, you spent data to be here. So we are considerate. Yeah, Cynthia deserves that congratulations. She's been very active since the beginning, and she was really happy for those that actually won the scholarship initially. So yeah, congratulations, Cynthia. Congratulations to you. And you responded too. It's just that it was a tough one picking people. We'll be giving out airtime. We'll be giving out t-shirts, our branded t-shirt. I don't know if you can see my shirt. This is one of it. I'm wearing the Techy Accountant branded t-shirt. Yeah, I have in white, I have in purple. Okay, I would share that in the comment section, Mr. Babajide's LinkedIn profile. So we'll be giving out some of our t-shirts today. So please stick around. We still have a couple of, we have one more section to go, one more power session to go, and then we will wrap it up. So stick around, don't leave. I would let Oyeye do some questions so that we can use that to give away some of it. So if you answer, the first person to get it right takes the airtime. So we have about a few questions for that. We can take about 5. We still have more airtime though, but let's take about 5 questions.
So we should be posting it on the chat box.
Yeah, she will be sharing a screen.
Oh, okay.
Okay, someone is asking about the scholarship. What about this? If you won the scholarship, please, we've announced the names of the winners. Please send us an email. We've announced the name of the winners, please. And if you did not qualify, please wait. We still have something planned out. We had quite a number of people. We cannot give out everybody. But don't worry. Don't worry, we still have, just stick around. We still have some announcements to make as regards that. We still have mentoring opportunities. Some people would be picked or will tell you how you can qualify to be mentored. So just stick around. Let's take the giveaway for now. Let's do that for now, and then I will share Mr. Babajide's profile while the giveaway is going on. When you please, you have the floor. You can share your screen.
Okay, please enable me sharing my screen.
Okay, sorry. Done. I think you can now.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay.
Idara, so you sent you sent your message to the host and panelists. Other people can see it. Idara is presently an undergraduate that is also in the academy, and they are graduating next week. So yes, we're happy to hear that. We can see your screen.
What you can see is, I think, respond to the one you can. The first person to answer correctly gets the prize. So pick the one you want. I think we should have named, just answer. You can say, I'm answering number 3 and answer. So we're on the look for the first person that can answer correctly.
Please notice the fastest finger, the first person to answer
correctly.
Very important, Kemi.
Okay, someone has answered number 3. That is Finuola.
I think you can do that, right, while we move to the next session. I'm sure I'm taking the next session, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let me just go straight forward to that because our time is fast spent while they're typing their answers, basically, and you're taking note of it and picking the right one. So guys, once again, my name is Toyo Lufon, and I'm the founder of the Techy Accountant. As you can see, I'm ACCA Chartered, I'm ICANN Chartered, I'm also CITN Chartered. I'm also an alumnus of INSEAD, the Business School of the World. And also I have a diploma in digital innovation in finance, ACCA UK. Yes, that's among other things. So what do I do about being the founder and running Techy Accountants? I also, I'm the principal partner at Leaford Consulting. So yes, I run a consulting firm. And that's why if you hear me say some things, I have that knowledge, not just knowledge, it is what I do on a daily basis, and I see it and I know it. So that's why, I say the things that I say. Now, I would definitely not be able to touch everything I intend to talk about, but I think I would just try and pick on things that I think that are quite important. So if you have questions also, please, this is the time for you to ask all your questions. And because at the end of this session, you must gain something, like you must have answers to the questions you have burning in your mind. And I'm so happy with what every other mentor had said today, or panelist has said today. They all spoke my mind, and anybody that is close to me will know that these are the things I say on a daily basis. You can hear Onye tell you guys what I said to her. Onye is not an accountant, for the love of God, but it is my passion, and this is what I do on a daily basis. All right, so my topic is bridging the gap between school and business world. Are certificates overrated? What certificate should I take? Does this sound like questions you have in your mind? Let me be sure. Does this sound like questions you have in your mind? Are certificate overrated? What certificate should I take now that I'm undergrad? First of all, I'm not going to say too much about my story, but I'll tell you one very profound experience that I had that actually led to the birth of the Techy Accountants. So I was opportuned to finish my university at a young age. I think it's the age most of us finish school these days. So I finished as a 4-pointer. I was always a 4-pointer when I was in university. By the way, I went to University of Ilorin, so better by far. Shout out. All right, that aside, and immediately, right, I started my ACCA. Just like Mr. Ibironke said also, I knew about ACCA, so immediately I'm like, okay, after school I was going to start, and that was what I did. During my service year, I started ACCA. And within 2 years, I was done with ACCA. So you can imagine, after the first year, service year, then the second year, I'd finished, and then we had 10 papers to write, and I passed. So I thought that, after finishing with a 2-1, a 4-pointer, and also the ACCA certificates, that I'll just walk into offices, I would drop my CV, I'll walk away, and the job will come rolling. Like, I'll just be getting the calls. Hi, please, we'd like you to work with us. We are invited for an interview, blah, blah, blah. Oops. The reality was far from that, guys. Let me just tell you the truth. The reality was far from that. And that made me wonder, we were told to go to school, read your book, be serious. I did that. Now, I even have professional certificate again. What's going on? I didn't know it was going to be this stuff. And, just navigating through that experience inspired me to even start the Techy Accountant, because the question I asked myself then is that, so if someone like me that finished with a good grade, I was opportune to be able to write my ACCA, because it's not everybody that their parent can pay for their ACCA exam, especially because you pay in pounds, not in naira, so it's quite expensive, So if someone with my own certification and all is not able to secure a job as easily and as quick as I thought it would happen, how much more people that don't have this advantage? Just like Mr. Ibiroke said, he said, how much more people that don't have this ladder at all? What's going to happen to them? And that brings to mind, so are we now saying that certification is not important? Truth be told, that's not it. But in the business world, I'll just share a few nuggets with you that I want you to remember, and it should guide your career progression as you move on in life, right? It's not cast in stone, but these are just nuggets that has worked for me that I think that you should pay attention to as well. Now, what I realized was that certificates, yes, were important, but you know what happened? The moment you have a certificate, a certain level of delivery, of competence is assumed that you must have. And that's where the problem lies. That was where the problem existed. Because I was ACCA chartered, beyond in my CV, beyond just writing that I finished with 2-1 or I'm ACCA chartered, should be told what the employer was trying to look out for. That, oh, yeah, ACCA chartered. Okay, so what can you do? That's the next question. And that's what my CV should have spoken more to. However, was it my fault? Really, no. I didn't have experience. So the first nugget I'll tell you is that certificates are important, but most importantly is actually developing your skills and competence. And I see this ASU break as a great opportunity for you to do that. It's not a pleasant thing that you people are on strike. You've not been able to go to school. Trust me, it's not a good thing. So don't think that I'm happy about that, or I'm trying to celebrate that. No, I'm not celebrating that. But I'm saying that when things like this happen, because it's not within your control, don't let the government waste 2 months, 3 months of your life. I remember then, in fact, let me tell you why I started ACCA during my NYSC. That's because before I went for my NYSC, even before I got to that level, I always had people say that NYSC is just a waste of 1 year. It's just a waste of 1 year. So before I got to that stage, I told myself that I will not waste this 1 year, because it's not NYSC that is wasting 1 year. That is 1 year of your life that is being wasted. So the same way, look at this ASU strike also has 3 months or 4 months of your life that is being wasted. Can you do anything about it? No, you can't at the moment. What can you do about the strike is to make good use of this period to actually develop your skill. It's very, 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 very important. Now, I know that in Nigeria, most of our schools, they've not incorporated internship. And I think it's something that is important that schools should do. Like maybe after every level, you go for internship during that summer break. I think it's very, very important, because that's how you actually get the skill. And also, what are you supposed to do now? Is for you to look for an organization around your neighborhood. Look for an organization, a company around your neighborhood, instead of staying at home, right? Go there and tell them that you want to intern with them. And of course, don't go there with the mindset of they have to pay me, because most organizations would say, oh, we can't pay, you don't know anything, we'll be the one teaching you and all. But you see, at this stage of your life, what you should be focused on is actually making good use of every time that you have, including the strike. So use this period to develop your skills. It's very, very, very important. Now, am I saying that you should put skills over certification? That's not what I'm saying. To some extent, let me be truthful, that's what I'm saying. But I'm also saying that certification also is important. Do you know why? Because for some job roles, right, they just require that you carry that title. They require that you have that professional certification, but also they want you to have the commensurate skills. I don't know if you've had before, an accountant will be employed and they'll be like, when you say you're chartered and you don't know this, that's an insult. Because the moment you say I'm chartered, you are expected to have some certain skills. And that's why it's important that you balance it. I've seen scenarios whereby people, instead of them working, trying to gain skills, they'll be like, no, I want to focus on my exam. I don't subscribe to that approach at all. And I will say this because I'm an employer of labor as well. In fact, in my organization, when most of the time when we are recruiting, what I'm asking you of is, what can you do? I'm not asking you, what grade did you finish with? Did you finish with a 2-1? Did you finish with a first class? That's not what I'm asking you. I'm just telling you what employers are on the lookout for. And that's why you should pay attention to it. Develop your skill. This is the best time for you to go and intern with an organization. Now, another mistake that people do also is that when they go for internship opportunities, assuming an organization even take you in, they don't try to create opportunities for themselves. Let me tell you the truth. If you join an organization and say you want to intern for them, most of the time, and they know that, oh, you don't really know so much, right? Most of the time, they may not even give you any work to do. I've seen people just go there and be like, hey, they did not give me anything to do, so they'll just go and mark register. You're wasting your time. Something you should hold on to that I'm talking about here is that ensure that at every stage of your life, you are not wasting your time. So if you are going for an internship opportunity, right, make sure that the organization does not waste your time. And how do you achieve that? Is by making yourself useful to them, approaching them to give you tasks. Don't wait for them to give you tasks alone before you are able to get something done. In fact, even sometimes if they tell you that we have nothing to do for you, if you see, we have nothing to give you, if you see someone working, probably they have an accountant in that organization, right? Or they have a finance officer there. If you see anybody working, go and sit beside them. Be looking at what they're doing. Immediately, the information you're passing across to them is that, see, you are here for serious business. You are here to learn. Create your own opportunities. Don't wait for when it's handed over to you. It's very, 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 very key. Developing, and this is the best time. In fact, another thing also I need to say is that, see, being young right now, it's like a currency. In fact, it is a currency. It's a currency that if you learn how to use very well, will yield you a lot of results in your life. So don't play away your usefulness. Let me tell people they are always more open, more friendly to give young people opportunities than when they are grown. So that's why you should use this currency wisely. If you go to an organization and say, I want to intern for you, trust me, they are first moved. They'll be like, wow, this person is actually serious about his life. We have someone like that right now in the academy that I'm so proud of. She's so young, but if you see the amount of things that she has achieved, by the time that that'll be your network, please. By the time that she's done with her school, right? I told her, I said, see, I'm sure you will not stay at home for one day. She will not stay at home for one day. She's praying. I'm like, in fact, just let me know when you are done. Even me, I'll create that opportunity for you. Because you see, everybody is attracted to any young person that is serious about their life, and they commit to the hard work required for them to develop the skill and the competence required in the labor market. So this is something that you people should pay attention to, please. Pay attention to it closely. Don't play with it. Your skills are valuable. In fact, let me tell you, in the practical world, right? I know of people that they don't have this ACA that I have and the other schools that I've gone to and things like that, but you see, they've gone so far in their career. Why? Because they have the skill, they have the competence. So they are always sought after. And that's what people are looking for. That's what employers also are looking for. Now, also, during this break, as I said, it depends on the stage that you are, let's say in your life or in your career as well. But during this break, another good thing also, if you feel like, oh, maybe not internship, maybe because of your environment, you know that we are not open to this to the same level of opportunity. There's still something else you can do. We just talked about emerging technologies. How much are you trying to read about them? How much are you trying to develop competence? when it comes to this technology. In fact, there's one aspect that nobody has spoken about, which is something that I always speak to. Are you not tired of us being consumers of this technology? Why can't we also be creators of this technology? Why can't we be innovators? Why can't we be the one using blockchain technology to solve problems in our profession? And that's where you young people come in. You're young, build your skill. If you have to learn how to code so that you can create solutions when it comes to blockchain, yes, go for it. If you have to learn how to code so that you can build robotics solution that can be used in an organization, please go for it. I hope you know that most of the people developing the products or the software that we use right now in the finance industry, they're mostly tech people. So do you know what they do? They'll go and get someone like you, like me, that have experience in the finance industry, right? They'll go and get someone like us to be on the team to help them understand the problems better, and they create a solution. But you see, I've always had this line of thoughts that assuming that we are the ones, finance professionals, we are the ones writing the code, we are the ones coming up with the solutions. I believe that they will be better than the way that they are right now. Do you know why? You know, there's this adage that says that is the person wearing the shoe that knows where it pinches. So you can imagine if someone that is not in our profession, right, is the one trying to create solution for us, do you think they will give us the best solution? I don't think so. And these are the opportunities that you people should start plugging yourself into. They are not traditional. It's not everybody that will become a tax consultant. In fact, the roles of the job roles that are available to be a tax consultant, to be an auditor, to be an accountant is shrinking, because this technology also, they help us get our work done better, but at the same time, they reduce the roles. Excel Clifford, I don't know why you can't hear me. I can hear you clearly. Sorry, I think others can hear me clearly. I guess it's your network. Please. Yes, I guess it's your network, please. So as I was saying, so it's very, very important that you start developing these skills. And in fact, that's the whole essence of creating the Techy accountants. We are all about championing these new skills that we believe that finance professionals should have. That's what we are all about. That's why you see that our courses are progressive. They are not, the typical ones. Of course, just as Michelle said, the debit and credit, they are still very important. Those are very valid foundation for what we do. But that's why we have courses like data analytics for finance professional. We specialize. That's what we are about. Because I'm tired. I'm tired of just seeing us being a consumer of this software. I want to see us also champion the innovation of this software solution as well. And we have it in us, just that we're not just thinking in that direction. And that's why that's one way I want to inspire you today. If you've not learned anything, I hope you are inspired to be an innovator. Don't just be a consumer. Be an innovator. It's very, very important. If you have the flair in you, you will know. It depends on how hungry you are, how audacious you are, how you know it. I'm sure that you know yourself very well. So it's very, very, very important. And that's why you should join us. You cannot be close to me and you will not hear this on a daily basis. Yes, you will hear this on a daily basis. And I'm not telling you what I'm not doing. That's another thing also that people don't know. I'm not telling you what I'm not doing. We have solutions that we are creating. Like now, we created a hiring platform called Hire for Africa. We've not launched yet, but it's strictly for accounting and finance roles. And we leveraged on machine learning to create that platform. Yes, we are yet to launch it, but I'm just telling you one of the things we're working on. The same also in the consulting firm also. We provide services like data analytics for our clients as well. We are evolving. We are not just telling clients, I can help you do your debit and credit, I can help you prepare your financial statement. Remember, we are the drivers of every business. We are the ones that help business owners to be able to have informed decision. to be able to make informed decisions in their organizations. So you need to constantly think, how can I get this informed decision? That's why data is very important. Data analytics is very, very, very important. And it's a skill that, as I said, depends on your interest. But right now, start trying to define what your career path would be. Just like Mr. Babajide said, that was something I did for myself. I never joined the bank because it was not in tandem with my career path. I never joined it. I never joined the bank, but I had 3 offers, but I never accepted it. And not because I had better jobs at those times. No, in fact, sometimes I did not have jobs, but I never took those offers because they did not align with my career path. The same way, you need to start asking yourself, where do I want to build competence? And so that you can start building your knowledge, you can start building your skill towards where you want to see yourself. Thank you, guys. And at this point, I'm going to stop because our time is actually far-fetched. I hope you are inspired. Yes, I hope you are inspired. Someone is saying, what are the basic skills we need to tap into data analytics? Excel is one. In fact, I'm sure, most accountants will say that, oh, they know how to use Excel. You just know how to use a scratch of it. Excel is very good for data analytics, but we have more tools that made it simpler. We have the likes of Power BI, Tableau. They made data analytics easier. It's very, very good. And as I said also, we have a course on that. We have a course for data analytics. In fact, after this summit, I think we'll be putting an ad out for data analytics. We hope we have the beginners course and we have the advanced course. In the advanced course, you actually learn how to code as well, but you just need to ask yourself, what do I want to become? Where do I see myself in the next 10 years? What do I have interest? What area of accounting or finance do I have interest in? And you start building your skill and competency in that area. Please, are there any more questions? Because we must not exceed 2. We've taken too much of our time. We must not exceed 2. So guys, I hope I had a good run. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark, for your session. As usual, you always leave us inspired, and even from their responses, you can tell that they are inspired. Please extend your gratitude in the chat box. We're going to run now with the speed of light so that we can finish up as soon as possible. If you have questions, drop them. If we can attend to it now, you can send us an email so we can attend to it later. You can send us a DM or you can send us an email, one of the 2. So please, you can reach us on Instagram at Techy Accountant. I would show you, I will share the links as we progress. But you can do that or send us an email. I dropped that email earlier, lefortfoundation@gmail.com. Let me type it again so that you can send your questions there if you have questions. But you will get an email. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch eventually. So yeah, quickly, we asked a question earlier, and I'm sure that they're still trying to compile and decide who the winners are because we got quite a number of responses. But we will be giving airtime to some people who have been very engaging so far in this session. Since the beginning, they've been here, they've been interacting. If you don't hear your name, don't be discouraged. Oh, Faith would like to join the academy. You'll get a link shortly. I'm sharing a link. If you want to join the academy, we'll be sending a link to you. We'll be sharing it in this chat box shortly. But first, let me announce the name of those. If you hear your name, please send us a message via Instagram DM. Then we can take it from there. We'll send you your airtime. So this is to say thank you for being active. Thank you for taking time out to be here. We know that it's every one of you, but some we just have to pick randomly based on the names that kept on popping up. Now, this is different from those that answered the question correctly. You will get your own, but we're still compiling that, trying to decide, okay, who did first. So that might take a bit of time. So the first person on my list is Excel Clifford. So congratulations, Clifford. Please send us a DM with your preferred network and we will send you your airtime. The second person is Ayodele Deborah. Congratulations, Deborah. Please send us a DM on Instagram and we would send you your, and with your preferred network, and we'll send you your airtime. The third person is Faith Adeniji. Faith Adeniji. Yes, congratulations to yourself. Faith Adeniji, congratulations. Again, send your preferred network to Instagram. And then we have Ojediran Faith. And lastly, we have Adamu Yakubu. Congratulations, guys. Send us your preferred and we'll get back to you. So we'll move. I don't know if we have the winners of the other one ready yet, but in the absence of that, I would really like to give you a brief on the Techy Accountant Academy. Let me share my screen so you can see while we do that. And so I will also share the link that you can use to register. Oh, before I do that, we mentioned that there was going to be a mentorship opportunity. So Mrs. Queen is willing to mentor a group of people, a very small group of people. And so if you like to be mentored by her, you want to have a one-on-one discussion with her where you can gain career clarity, you can ask questions and you can learn from her too. Now, we would not be extending it openly to everybody, but what you would do to qualify for this is to send a 1-minute video to our youth, to us. Let me put our WhatsApp number. I'm going to put it now. So you can send your 1-minute video to this number on WhatsApp. And then if you qualify, we'll get back to you. So if you're interested, send a 1-minute video to the number on WhatsApp. Please, Onye, if you can put this on Word, please help me so I can maybe we can project it later alongside with our email address, please. Let me take you through what we have at the Academy and then the link to join some of our, if you're interested. We are going to do an undergraduate special for the Techy Accountancy. If you're interested, we'll have an undergraduate special where it's you and your fellow undergraduates undergoing the Techy Accountant course, becoming a Techy Accountant course. So we'll have a special session for undergraduates. If you're interested, please fill this form that I'll be sending. I'll share the link. Please fill the form. We have other courses, but this is like the first one you should have. We have data analytics and we have the beginner version. I would really speak much on that later, but this is like the main, our signature course, and it is suitable for you that are just leaving the university. Only for undergraduates. No, Miriam, we have for professionals too. We have for professionals. Miriam, your family, please, we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. So the link has been shared. Miriam, we'll send you more details, please. We'll send you more details. We'll send you more details. Thank you. So the link has been shared, please. You can fill it while I take you through what we do at the Academy and some of our courses. Okay, I want to believe you can see my screen. I'll just breeze through it quickly. So we have Techy Accountant, and the Techy Accountant is an initiative of the Leapfrog Foundation. In case you're wondering why our email is Leapfrog Foundation, the Techy Accountant is an initiative of the Leapfrog Foundation. So this is a brief about us. We aim to empower finance professionals at all levels of their career. So from where you are, we have courses that range from where you are to even a lot, if you are even way up there in your career, we have courses available for you. And I'll be sharing the courses. So our vision is to raise a generation of premium and tech-savvy finance professionals. So you're in the right place. This is what we intend to do. This is what wakes us up every morning. When we show up at the office, this is what we're thinking about. So what Techy stands for is technology-driven, enthusiastic, consistently making an impact, honesty and integrity, young and vibrant techpreneurs. Okay, so let me run through this. So these are some of the courses we have at the Academy at the moment. We have the Techy Accountant course, Becoming a Techy Accountant. That's it, I have to edit that, Becoming a Techy Accountant. And this is for those that are transitioning from mostly for those that are transitioning from the university to the business world, or those that are working and looking to upskill, maybe to learn more, to refresh their knowledge. Yes, this is the course for them. So I've shared the link for this one in the chat box. Please feel if you're interested. We have tax consulting course for those that intend to specialize. You know, we asked in one of the forms, which area of accounting are you interested in? And some said tax. So we have tax consulting form course. We have accounting software training. We have for QuickBooks, we have for Sage. We've done something on ERP before. We have payroll management course. We have data and analytics. That's coming after this present Techy accountants course. They'll be graduating next week Sunday, and then we have the data analysis. We have the beginner version, and we have the advanced version. We also have some small courses on our e-learning platform. We have an e-learning platform where we have courses for sale. We have both free and courses for sale. We have on bookkeeping. If you want to learn, we have a veteran in the industry demystify bookkeeping, debit, credit, and all of that. So we have a course on that. We have on budgeting, we have data analytics, we have free version, we have paid version on our e-learning platform. All these links you'll be getting, you get it in the chat box or via email. So once you attend, just look at our email. We'll send you the link to some of these courses. So we'll have our Techy Accountant Summit. This is for those that are graduating from the Techy Accountant Academy mainly. And we also have it for general finance professionals. Now, this is mainly for those already practicing, but you can join because there is always something for everyone. You can join. It's going to hold next week Sunday. We'll also share the link with you. So there are so many links to share. You'll get a comprehensive email by Monday latest. Okay, so I think that we have our board of trustees. We don't do this alone. We have our board of trustees that do this with us. And yeah, so you can reach us via leafordfoundation@gmail.com, or this is our number. You can send a message to us on WhatsApp, especially for those that are interested in the mentorship. So send a 1-minute video, make it as compelling because it's going to be a very tight slot, and we want people that really need this because we want it to be worth our time and energy too. And we want you to also get the best of it. So you have to be hungry for this too. So yeah, that's it. Okay, quickly, we want to appreciate some people who have been here, who helped us with this program. They were really passionate about it. Can you still hear me? I hope I didn't bombard. Yes. I hope I didn't bombard you with information because I know
too much information. They'll get it by email. They'll get the clarity by. They'll get more information via email. All right,
okay.
Kenny.
We have the answer. We have those that won via the questions asked. So you can also send us a DM on Instagram and you get your reward, your airtime reward. So we have Finuola Fagbo. We have Ogbonyomi Enoch. We have Oke Iyamo. We have Oladeji Oladipupo, I believe. And we have Love It. So please, if you heard your name, send us a DM and we have your gift waiting for you. Thank you very much for that. Okay, we want to also appreciate some people who have been here. All right, let me just a minute. Okay, so these people that we would be sharing, we want to say thank you. They will be getting our Techy Accountant branded shirt. So wherever you are, let us know via DM or via email. Number one is Farida Mohammed, I believe. I don't know if Farida is around. So Farida Mohammed, if you're here, please send us your please send us a message with your location and how we can get your shirt across to you. We want to say big thank you to Miriam. They did the personalized DP that we asked that people should do, and they shared it. They made sure that they brought crowds for us. They shared it. Miriam made a post for us on LinkedIn, and we're really grateful for that. Farida alone shared and got like over 100 views for a personalized DP. Miriam too, the same thing. We say thank you. We have Techy accountant branded shirts for you. We'll be sending it to your location to let us know. And we have Abubakar Sadiq from Now University. So we want to say thank you, big thank you for your support and for also joining. I'm sure Miriam has been here since the beginning and she's been actively involved. Thank you very much. You'll be getting a Techy accountant branded shirt. So you can follow us on all our handles. We have the Techy accountant on Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. You can follow us on all of this. Just search the Techy accountant across all platforms.
Please hold on, Kemi. I think you should just take a screenshot of this. Guys, take a screenshot of this screen that is being projected now. Someone is asking how she can send the DM. Send it to our Instagram, please. Send the DM via Instagram.
Okay, yeah, send it. Yeah. Instagram.
Yes, someone is asking that question. Yeah. So just take a screenshot and
the 1 minute video is for those interested in mentorship with Mrs. Toyin. So if you want to be mentored by her, send us a 1 minute video telling us why you want to be mentored by her. Please make it as compelling so that you don't feel too bad if you're not picked. So, and we're looking to take a small group of people so that they can be effectiveness. So yeah, that's it. A big thank you to everybody who has stayed this far. We are so grateful. And please let us know what you learned, how you feel about the handles. Just search for Techy accountant on any platform, we would come up.
Also, guys, please take a screenshot of maybe us right now and post on your social media handles or on WhatsApp, stating 1 or 2 things that you learned and tag us as well. That's one way for you to say thank you. I can see people saying thank you, but another way we'll really know that and we'll feel thanked is if you put us on your social media platform, tag us if possible, put it on your WhatsApp status and all. As I said, welcome to the family and welcome to Techy accountants.
Yeah, so I've dropped the links for you to register. If you're interested, we'll be in touch. You please give us reviews. You can go to our page, comment on our post, tell us what you liked about the summit. Please follow us on social media and just give us shout outs. Upload it on your story, tag us, we would appreciate it. Let people know that send the video to our WhatsApp number here. Let people know that you found it enlightening. Okay, you should get the recording. We'll try to make it like, it will go live on YouTube or it will be available on YouTube. When it is, we'll send you an email. Look out for our email on Monday. It's been a long session, so look out for our email on Monday. It will be a comprehensive email where we have the links to the profile of our speakers, any other resource that we'll be sharing with you. Every link that we mentioned in this program will be sent to you. But for now, you can search for Techy accountants on any platform, like, follow, give us, let me send the number. Okay. Let me send the number for the 1 minute video. Yeah, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. Someone sent a message. Chinaza, thank you so much.
Chinaza, yeah, he's a very smart learner.
Thank you so much.
She knows all her name. Thanks so much, Mrs. Toyin. Thank you, Miss. She's actually not Miss Kemi. She's Mrs. Kemi too, in case you don't know. Thank you, Miss Onye. Thank you, Techy Akana. Thank you so much for Foundation. This was really enlightening. Chinaza, thank you very much. We appreciate your.
Thank you. Please give us this shout out on Instagram. It means a lot.
Yes, so please give us shout outs on Instagram, on social media platforms, and tag us. It will mean a lot to us. Thank you very much.
The deadline for the 1 minute video would give you till Friday next week. Let's make it a week.
Yes.
Let's make it a week. Thank you so much. Thank you. Is there any last words for us as we wrap up? I will let so I would also want to appreciate everybody that's been here for making this a very enlightening session. Thank you, Excel. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Lovett. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you to everybody who has been here, who made this as interactive. Thank you for making our speakers feel at home. And thank you for appreciating their time and effort to be here. We would have more of this. Of course, we will. We have one next week, Sunday. So yes, you get the link to register too, so you can be a part of that. So yeah, you get the link. So we have another one, but we would, you can't be an undergraduate. In the next year, you might not be an undergraduate anymore. So you graduate to another level of summit status.
Kemi, please, one more thing also. I was checking the registration. We have people here too that are not in their final year. They're either in 200 or 300. So that means next year they will still be in school. So this undergraduate summit is here to stay. In fact, next year's zone will be bigger. We'll make sure we bring more brands so that you guys win more gifts, win things like laptops and stuff like that. But the point is that we need your support as well to help us disseminate this information to your fellow colleagues. So guys, we'll be looking out for your data and we'll reach out to you as well. We'll send you an email too. Please, we are counting on your support. If you like my face, please support us. And even if you don't like my face, please just support us as well. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, bye. How can we invite you to our school? Wow, that's nice. We're looking to visit. We wanted to do an undergraduate visit, so you can send us a mail on
send
Instagram.
Us an email
from there.
No, you should send us an email.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye, Miriam. Thank you. Bye, Deborah. Thank you. Send us a message on Instagram or for your gifts. Bye. Bye, Clifford. Bye, Faith. Bye, Victoria. Bye, John. Bye, Enoch. Bye, Finuola. Bye, Elizabeth. Bye, Idara. Bye, Precious. Bye, Elizabeth. Bye, Imole Ayo. Bye, Chinaza. Bye, Akintoye. Bye, Osai. Bye, Grace. Bye, Samuel Oluchuku. Bye, Damilare. Bye, Benedicta. Thank you so much. A good number of you were quite quiet. Bye, Tesiwaju. Bye, Mohammed Abdullahi. Bye, Lovett. Thank you guys for staying through to the very end. Thank you. All right, to close the session now. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please give us a shout out on social media. It will mean a lot to us. Thank you. All right, guys, till the next one. Stay